Hello everybody, my name is Grzegorz Jankowicz and this is a series of talks titled New European Canon. I conduct these conversations on behalf of Biuro Literackie, and New European Canon is a project carried out by Biuro Literackie. Its aim is to publish 21 books within 3 years, actually 7 of them already translated into Polish, 3 books of poetry, 3 books of prose and 1 book for children each year. All of them will create a mixture of new voices, new narratives, new stories about complicated European identities and other issues like, for example, individual or collective experiences and social, political relationships of people living in Europe. One of the authors chosen for this project is Najat Hachmi. Hello, Najat.
Hello.
A writer from Catalonia with Moroccan origins.
Yes, that's the short story about me. I was born in Morocco, and I went to live to Catalonia when I was 8 years old.
I will ask you about this double identity you have and how does it affect your writing. But let me start with your response to my questionnaire. A question about literature and community. This questionnaire is available at Biuro Literackie website for those of you who are interested in the way I formulated this question and interested in all the answers I received. Please search for it over the net. You said in this response that literature is a tool for thinking. It's a tool for thinking for you. While you writing, you analyze. And my question is, how does it work? And why literature is the best tool for thinking for you as a writer?
I don't know exactly how it works, but sometimes I feel strange in this world because I don't understand something, and that happens to me a lot since I was very young, since I was a child. And when I start to try to, like tidy things by writing, suddenly I can understand more things than I could before writing. And I think fiction is a very good way to do that, because sometimes you find things that you didn't know that they were there. And for me, as a person that was born in a country in North Africa and then went to live to an European country, that's a very important thing to do. I mean, I need to understand what's going around me, to know how, who I am, and well, that's the way that works for me.
I really like this way of approaching the world with literature as the best language to understand what's happening in us and outside of us. So yeah, that really touches something in me when you say that is the best way for thinking.
Yeah, maybe it's the same for all of us. I mean, even if we have more simple linguistic environment, we do need to like describe and analyze with the language what's going on, because that's the way we think with language. I mean,
of course, but I don't think it's the best way for all of us, because there are some people who would choose the language of economy or the language of politics to do the same or to do the same things in a different way. But I totally agree with you that language of literature is absolutely the best. To my questionnaire about community, you responded that community is a very important theme for you because it is strongly related to the notion of identity. In your case, double identity. How does it affect your writing, this double identity you have?
Actually, I always felt that there is a big tension between being an individual and being in a community. I mean, I need the community. I feel very attached to my different communities, but at the same time, communities, they always have rules to, like, sometimes imprison the individuals. And in this tension, I find a lot of stories to write, because is the fight for freedom, but at the same time, the fight to be recognized by the people you love. I mean, the big tension for me is these two things: freedom and belonging. I need to belong, but at the same time, I need to be free. So I need my community to recognize me as an individual and accept me the way I am. And as a woman, that's a big issue.
And when you write, do you think about any particular reader or group of readers you would like to address?
When I remember the first time I started to try to write something by my own, it was after reading a lot and having nothing to read at home. So I was very bored, and I decided to write the story I wanted to read. And of course, that story was for me in the first place, because I don't know, there weren't people like me in books, in novels, in everything I used to read. So that was very funny for me to try to have my own reality, in a story. And after that, I realized that this game was very powerful, because you can decide everything in a story. So I don't think in a specific particular reader, but I would like to go beyond the borders that separate different people from different realities. I mean, I'm very happy when I have a reader that has a life that's particularly similar to the characters in my novels. But I'm also very happy when the readers have nothing to do with that. Because that means we can connect, even being very different. I mean, that's if literature is not useful for that, if we cannot connect with people that are outside of our world, with completely different, it's not, for me, it's not literature. It's something else, like more, I don't know. Not that creative, more like...
In your first book, an autobiographical essay titled "I'm Also Catalan," you present your experience of belonging to a place, to a country, to a community, and its language. When did you start to feel that you belong to Catalonia?
I guess it was the first time we went back to Morocco. Because I was looking for this trip, because I wanted to go back, being in the place that was my home again. But then I realized it wasn't home anymore, because I felt very strange there. I was 12 years old or something, and I was a complete different, person from the one that left the country. And I don't know, the way people think, or even the language. I could speak my mother tongue, of course, but I don't know, I felt strange, and I wanted to go back home, and back home wasn't Morocco, was this neighborhood in a small city in Catalonia with my, my school, with my friends, with, I don't know, a lot of things that it really, makes me feel like comfortable, and that's the first time I realized that something was completely different, for all the immigrants, and for all the sons and daughters of immigrants in Catalonia.
Around the same age, you started writing.
Yes.
You were 12, very young, very early. It's not unusual, but still. I wonder, how do you perceive your first drafts, your first text today? Do you see in them seeds of your mature writing, or they're just writings of a completely different person than you are now?
I don't have a lot of the texts that I wrote at that early age, but I found one, and the style is completely different, but the issues that were annoying me, or were that I was thinking about, are exactly the same. Identity, my problems as a woman, and also a bit of, I was a bit worried about the social conditions that we had, because even, at that age I couldn't understand anything, but I was like, I remember that I wrote something about the fact that I hadn't any place at home to study, and we were a lot of children at home. We were 6 brothers and sisters, and there was a lot of noise around me when I used to study in the middle of the dining room, and I don't know. I guess I was, like thinking about that. Why, the differences between the people that can have a place to study or not. Or more important for me was the thing that I couldn't have books at home, and other people. I had a neighbor who had a room full of books, and she never read any. And I was like, wow, you have all these books and you're not reading them. Because I couldn't afford a book, of course. But they were published libraries, which are the best in the world.
What is your take on separatist attitudes in Catalonia? I wonder how a person who is a migrant perceives the place she came to as her own. You are a migrant, but at the same time you became Catalonian, right? So how do you see the situation in this region? And as I said, what is your take on the separatist attitudes?
Right now, or
right now, right? Of course, I'm asking. I know that it changes with time.
Yeah,
of course,
yeah,
but no, I'm asking you about your current perspective on this matter.
Well, I never thought that it would be possible to, for Catalonia to separate from Spain, because, I mean, Catalan society is more complex than what the image of separatists would show to the world. I mean, there are a lot of people in Catalonia they have their origins in other places in Spain. So in my neighborhood, the neighborhood I grew up, a lot of people were from an immigrant background, from other countries, but also from other places in Spain. So we felt, a lot of us felt very like divided, like we had to choose between, because I grew up with I don't know how to say, Spanish speakers in Catalonia. I mean, it's also our language is not, there's not, there's not like a border, a clear border between...
Strong division.
Strong division between Catalans from Catalan origin or Catalans from... And I think that's the best thing we have, the more I don't know how to say it in English. I mean, that's the good thing we have in Catalonia, that we're mixed, and we're from different places. We come from different places, and all of us are part of the society. And you cannot leave, half of the society and say, that was my point of view, and I don't know. It has been a very hard, because emotionally it was very hard. I mean, because when you use identity and the feelings of people in a political way, I think it's a dangerous thing to do. I mean, instrumentalize the feelings of the people and confront different groups in the same society is always a bad idea, I think. But because I was used to that before. I mean, I used to live in this when I had to give explanations about Moroccans in Catalonia, because when you know the language, everybody's telling you, everybody's asking you questions about why do you do that? Why is your mother wearing the hijab? Why they're asking you everything about, and you have to explain and defend and like try to give a more complex image of what's your country of origin. And at the same time, I used to have the same role in Morocco or with Moroccans, talking about European society or Catalan society or Spanish society. And
so you have to explain yourself in both places.
I was always mediating, and actually I worked as a mediator for a couple of years, because you have to do that even if you haven't chosen to do
Of
that.
course. Your novel, The Last Patriarch, is about destructive consequences of patriarchy. The character, the father, the patriarch, is a Moroccan who lives according to the cultural stereotypes. And there is a conflict between him and his daughter. He's violent, narcissistic, has no empathy or less empathy that he should have, and needs to rule to sustain emotional balance. A very powerful story, I have to say. And the book was well received in Spain. You got Lul Prize, Lul Award for this. But I wonder how the Moroccans react to the book.
I don't know, the Moroccans in general, but I had two different reactions. Okay, one is from people that are very angry with the book. Well, I don't know if it's with the book, because the problem when a book is well known is that there are a lot of people talking about the book even they haven't read it, which is awful for a book, because then they say, oh, it's a story about that and that. This it's not a good way to talk about a novel. But these people who were very angry with the book, they don't want to. I mean, they don't want like women to tell stories about what's going on with us, because they think that we have to preserve these we don't have to show these stories outside of the community, but there's another reaction which is from women and men who are more open-minded, which are very happy with the book, because they say that it's a very real story. A lot of women that I know have experienced the same at home, and even women that are not from Moroccan origin. I mean, the most surprising thing for me when the book was published was to find readers, Catalan readers, telling me that happened to me at home, because it's a story about these cultural differences, and the main character have this background, but most of all is a story about violence at home, which I can understand. I can understand violence. I'm still trying to understand violence, because it's something that, it's very difficult. It's not. It's a nonsense way of of treating the others, and in Spain we have a lot of every year we have a lot of women killed by their partners or their husbands or their fathers, and also children that are in this situation. And I think it's very important in this case to break the silence, because violence is the violence that you are like I don't know is the violence that that exists in a house, but it's all part of the violence is also the silence, to not talk about and not write about and not say anything about that, because that makes the violence to keep going, and it will transmit it. It will be transmitted to the next generation. But for me, this is a patriarch that's in crisis. It's a patriarch that he's already losing his power, and he doesn't know what to do to.
Absolutely, this is a patriarch in decline. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's I think that's what we're living right now. And there's a lot of patriarchs like that one, because they don't know what to do to live in the old world.
Do you think this book has one fantastic character? This is daughter. She is strong. She becomes strong. She doesn't want to live by the rule book. She rejects the tradition that stands behind the father, who is violent, and she hates violence. So she tries to find her own way. But my question is, do you think that it is possible for such characters as the father, as this patriarch, to change, or this generation has to just go away for the social change to appear?
Well, maybe there are some fathers who, can change because they're not that, that they don't have that complexity that this character has. But in this case, Mimoun is not going to change. I mean, it's impossible to make him change because he doesn't want to, accept the the independence and the autonomy, and he's so terrified by the idea of women doing what they want that he's not going to change, and it's impossible. I don't see that. And we just, can just. The only thing we can do is be helpful about the next generations. That's why education is so important. I mean, if you don't educate in equality, we're not going to have children are, different in they think different about the relationship between men.
Najat, thank you for this inspiring conversation. Thank you for the novel, beautifully translated into Polish. And dear all, I invite you to follow next episodes of the series New European Canon of Literature. Thank you again.
Thank you very much.